Hey everyone, Eric Thompson here. I hope you are doing so well. Thank you for clicking over and watching this installment of E.T.'s Top 10 Film Review. And in this video, we're looking at Top 10 Film Scores. I'll be joined by my friend Hannah. I want to let you know a couple things. One, it's Thursday evening. I'm hoping to post this video sometime over the weekend. But Hannah and I got a little carried away, and so the video turned out to be around 57 minutes long. That's a long video. It's a long YouTube video for anything. And so I'm going to cut the video into two parts, okay? And so there's your announcement. This is the first of two parts, and I'll post the second part immediately after I post the first, so you won't have to wait around for it. But you're free to watch them back to back, or watch the first and then forget about it and find the second one in a year and be surprised, or whatever you want. But please know that the first part will have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then the second part will have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope that you enjoyed this video. We tried some new things in putting the music into the video that we're talking about. Of course, in a movie about film scores, it makes sense to have the music actually there. I'm not playing or singing, well, I'm singing a little bit, but I'm not playing anything on my guitar like in the movie musical video. So I hope that works out well for you. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope the mix is right between the voices and the music. It's not always easy to achieve that. Anyway, enough of me. Well, I guess there's just going to be more of me, but let's get to the video. Here's me and my friend Hannah with E.T.'s Film Review Top 10 Film Scores. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Hey, everyone. Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing so well. Welcome back. Another installment of E.T.'s Top 10 Film Review this evening, considering Top 10 Film Scores. And we have a guest. And so this is my best friend's best friend, so Tori's best friend, Hannah. Welcome, Hannah. And she likes music, and she's an instrumentalist. I like music. I also play instruments. And so we're here to talk about what we like in film scores, right?
Right.
Right. Okay. A few thoughts, quickly. By now, we should have seen Top 10 Movie Pets with Tori. Alas, she was here, but we are so in love, we have no time for staring at the camera. Just staring at each other like idiots. So I'll try and do a Top 10 Movie Pets for you soon, and maybe if Tori can put a list together, then she'll have honorable mentions or whatever. I don't know what I'm gonna... Babe, maybe. Scooby-Doo. I don't know. I don't do Pig. Okay. As noted in the last video, it's my birthday on the 30th of this month, and so it's going to be a wonderful day for me. I'm going to spend the day with friends. Hannah's going to come out of retirement and play me at Scrabble, which will be a good time. And all kinds of things will happen, I hope. Also, for that day, I'll do another Top 10 video. And Michael, I honor you tonight with this shirt, which you got for my birthday. He's never bought me a gift ever in my whole life. And this is a shirt he gets me, my favorite movie, at the Illinois Theater in Chicago. How cool is that? So thank you, Michael. And his request was Top 10 sci-fi films. If you recall, I did Top 10 sci-fi fantasy, but I'm going to disambiguate and just do the sci-fi side of things. So, Michael, you'll get that in about a week, not even a week, 4 days. There you go. Very nice. And thank you again for the shirt. I appreciate it very much. Final thing, unpacking the terms here a little bit, okay? People say, you know, kind of like with the animated films that Tori and I did a while back. Is it an animated film if there's an animated character in it, or does it have to be fully animated? Well, here in film scores, we have kind of the same issue. And so the difference between score and soundtrack is very, very simple. A score is music that is definitively written to correspond with the events that happen in the scene. So it's incidental music, right? But the soundtrack is the combination of all the different elements. The music and the dialogue and the sound effects or the Foley sound staging or all of that. So why not do Top 10 soundtracks? Well, I am not as concerned with footfalls and the tone of spoken dialogue in ADR, but I am concerned with music. That's what we're talking about tonight. And Hannah and I talked about it before, and we thought, we just watched a video on YouTube of a great medley of movie music, and indeed what stands out is the themes, right? Those little 4-bar motifs that that no one ever forgets, like Gone with the Wind. Right? All these little things, all these little motifs. But is that enough? Does that really make a score great? And we said, well, yes it does, but What, Anna?
That's not all there is to it.
Say more.
There's got to be more to it than just the little moment. While that is very definitive of what you remember about a movie, I think it's the whole process of the entire movie and what it really brings to the film and what you take away from the film. You can remember the little 4-bar medleys, but how much of the entire movie is made by the entire score, not just the little motive.
Absolutely. 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 And so, with that in mind, let's begin. I got Vegas over here. I had to push him a little bit out of the way because well, you only need more space for 2 people. But that's okay. He'll put up the pictures for us as we go along. Here we go. I'll start. Normally the ladies start, but I thought I would take the lead this time around. My number 10, John Williams, kind of begins and ends with him, it seems. Catch Me If You Can. Now, this was his 20th collaboration with Steven Spielberg, okay? That's a lot. Holy smokes. And what I appreciate about Catch Me If You Can is that it's something different for John Williams. And this means a lot for a man who steals a lot of his own music. I went to see, I don't even know what movie we saw, but there was, it was with Tori, I think. I mean, I was alone. I saw the trailer for Warhorse, and nothing had to be on the screen. It was black, you know. Go look at it on YouTube, and you just hear the horns, just a chord. And you knew immediately it was John Williams, because he has that sound, right? Catch Me If You Can is not that sound. It's fun, it's light, it's jazzy, it's exciting, it's moving, just like the plot is, as, whatever his name is, the FBI officer, Tom Hanks. You knew he had to be in here somewhere. He's my main man, my favorite.
Really?
Yes, more or less.
Solid choice.
Thank you. So he had to be in there somewhere. But as Tom Hanks' character chases Frank Abagnale Jr., Leonardo DiCaprio, what a dream, as he chases him around the movie, and so you have this sort of cat and mouse feel in the score throughout. And there are moments of lush harmony and all of this, but really, it's an exciting race. It was nominated for an Oscar, but lost out. That's okay. And did you know that it became a Broadway musical? The composers for the musical didn't use any of Williams' score, but the spirit of the score is still in the Broadway production. So I think that's kind of cool. My top 10, Catch Me If You Can. Hannah, what do you think?
I think it's a pretty good choice. I haven't actually seen the movie, but I heard the little snippet before we started filming, and it's definitely a very cool soundtrack and fits the vibe of the movie from what I understand.
What is your top 10? Or what is your number 10?
Oh, my number 10?
Of your top 10, yes.
Oh, right, okay. My number 10 is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? It is a Carter Burwell score. It was directed by the Coen brothers and based on the Odyssey. This score actually didn't win any major awards for its music, but it did get a Grammy for the album of the year in 2001. The movie came out in 2000 because the music was really popular. The soundtrack was recorded before the filming started because it was so intrinsic to the movie, which is why I think this is a great score, because the music really fit the vibe of the movie. It was very folksy, it had a lot of period pieces, old Southern Baptist hymns, old Negro spirituals, lots of really good stuff. And an interesting thing about it is there's a Lonesome Valley was performed by this quartet called the Fairfield Four, who were together since 1941. And like I said, this movie was made in 2000, so they were super old, but they actually used them and they were grave diggers in the film, which is really neat. And the single from it that was originally written for it, Man of Constant Sorrow, won the Single of the Year at the CMA Awards. So I really like this because of the Southern style and like kind of the Kentucky roots to it, because I like listening to folk music, but I thought it captured the mood of the movie really well. It had some funny songs in it, and I just thought it was great and kind of underappreciated because it didn't win any awards from the Academy, but it's a diamond in the rough.
Awesome, awesome. My number 9, Batman. That's right, the first one. None of this Hans Zimmer syncopation nonsense. I'm talking Danny Elfman, Tim Burton Batman. I think that theme belongs as the Batman theme. You remember? Bum bum ba-dum, bum 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 bum, bum ba-da. You remember that scene at the very end of the movie when Batman's just hanging out on that fire escape or wherever he is, and it's like this monstrous, huge hymn, like a Mahler piece, huge orchestra, choir, those bells are going off. That's it. That's Batman. But more importantly, well, not more importantly than the score itself, of course, but importantly, this marked the second collaboration between Danny Elfman and Tim Burton. And you pretty much can't watch a Tim Burton film without hearing Danny Elfman's music, okay? And in fact, I read somewhere, I think it was on Wikipedia, it listed all of Danny Elfman's cameos in Tim Burton's movies. I mean, Nightmare Before Christmas and another animated film, whatever it was. Something in Alice in Wonderland, too. And he said that they don't even really talk about the music at all. Elfman kind of, or Burton just sends Elfman the dailies, or whatever he has in the film, and then Elfman just writes the music, and it's genius. Batman is that way, okay? It's a tender score, and a simple score because Elfman was just starting to get into large-scale orchestration, but it has that hero comic book sense to it. And that was Elfman's sensitivity and kind of practicality in the moment. It's a fun but accessible score, and it says, I am a superhero, I am Batman. Again, that first theme, go back and listen to it. I beg you, get on YouTube, you listen to that theme and tell me that it is worse than the Hans Zimmer stuff. I only say that because having seen The Dark Knight Rises, the last 25 minutes just feels like The Terminator. In the strings. I'm not saying that's bad, Mr. Zimmer, but give me Danny Elfman. Give me Batman with Keaton. That's right. Okay, that's my number 9. Yeah.
Okay, my number 9 is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone from 2001, John Williams. I have to give him a shout out, at least one on the countdown. This movie the first 2 were directed by Christopher Columbus, and so I had trouble picking exactly which score to go with on the Harry Potters because there's been obviously 8 films, 8 Harry Potters.
Yes.
Yeah, and all of them are different in they're similar and different. They use a lot of recurring themes, but at the same time, the movies get progressively darker. And so the scores changed a little bit, but I picked the first one because this one really had a lot of weight on its shoulders with this score because obviously Harry Potter, such a huge fan base, so many people expecting this. This is when you're identifying and really setting the tone for these characters and bringing them to life on screen. And I just thought that John Williams did a magnificent job with not only each character's themes, but an entire generation will recognize the first few notes and you think, there's Harry Potter. And they kept that throughout all the films, and it's great. He did a really good job capturing some whimsy and magic without being too obvious about it. It wasn't just chromatic scales the whole time, which is what you hear a lot with the witches. But he had a lot of clever little pieces here and there, like when they first walk into the Great Hall and they have the double toil and trouble singing with toads. I mean, that was brilliant. That was great. I love it. So I really love this. It was nominated for Best Score for the Academy Awards, but it did not win. But it is still classic, and I think he needs to be recognized. That's my number 9.
Awesome. My number 8, Indiana Jones. Now here, I'm choosing to just say Indiana Jones in general, okay? It's not the last time that we're going to pay homage to a series by just picking one of the films, okay? Just deal with it, haters. All right. I thought it was curious. I learned somewhere that the theme to Indiana Jones. That was one idea, and then John Williams had another idea later on, and so that that was another idea, and so he brought Steven Spielberg over to the house and played him for him on his piano, and Spielberg said, "Why not just put them together?" So John Williams said, "Oh, okay," and that's what we have now. That theme, and again, kind of like that Harry Potter music, especially that main theme that transports you immediately into world, okay, of visuals and characters, and drama. I think that the same is true with a lot of the music from Indiana films. Not just the theme, which of course is known around the world, but a lot of that little incidental music. I think the Temple of Doom kind of ends up being the most evocative because it's the darkest and the most sinister. But really, music from all of the films creates a tapestry that tells this adventurous, epic story. Okay. Again, how do you take Han Solo out of space and put him in a leather jacket? And you have to have music to accompany that. So John Williams does it again in a collaboration with Steven Spielberg. Unbelievable. All three. I don't think the fourth was nominated for an Oscar, but the first three were. None of them won, unfortunately. That's okay. All right. What do you have?
All right. My number 8 is Fantastic Mr. Fox. This was composed by Alexandre Desplat in 2009. The film, I have to confess, I tried to leave bias out of my list I tried to separate love for film, love for music, because I think sometimes if you really like a film, it's just natural that you're going to like the music. But with this one, I just love this film. It's a stop animation and it's based on Roald Dahl's book, Fantastic Mr. Fox. And a lot of people, it was kind of underappreciated, I think, when it came out. But it was nominated for the Best Score at the Academy Awards. It did not win. But it's great because it has a really large variety of songs, ranging from the light and childish ones, where they actually have this haunting melody. The children are chanting a little, there it is, they're chanting a little nursery rhyme kind of verse that they have about Bogus, Bunce, and Bean, which are the 3 villains in this movie. And they collaborate it really nicely into like this whistling and just whimsical feel to it. And then they mix it up with some motifs that are like perfectly fitting of the characters. I love this song on here called Christopherson's Theme. He's the nephew Fox. He comes in and he's just perfectly charismatic, and the music just completely transports you, which I think makes a great score. But they also have the Beach Boys and some classical symphonies all mixed in. So you have children chanting, the Beach Boys, classical symphonies, and these character themes, and it doesn't seem like it should go together at all. But he somehow combines it into just magic, and it flows, and in the movie, you just get caught up and you stop and you're like, I want to hear that song, I want that on my iPod in the movie without distracting you too much. And the music, I turn this on my Spotify a lot in the morning because I like to listen to it. It's just really catchy. So that's my number 8.
That's very cool. That's very cool. My number, I should have numbered these, Hannah. 10, 9, 8, 7. The Mission. That's right. Oh yes, and of course I bring this out. I bought it because Hannah would not stop talking about it. Every time we talked about film scores, and this was the first thing she always talked about. So it's on the shelf to be viewed. I will watch it, I promise.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. My number 7, The Mission. 100%. I'm just going to turn off. Okay, very good. I saw this movie, and I don't think I even heard the music at all because the film itself was so striking. Mary Lou, you know what I'm talking about. This is a movie that she has said that she has seen 200 times. I don't know if that's true. That's a lot of times to see a movie, but she would know the score very well. Ennio Morricone, okay? A lot of his music was in spaghetti westerns. Not his fault. You gotta do what you gotta do. But this film brought him to the next level, okay? Got him some serious attention, nominated at the Oscars for that year, didn't win, that's okay. What we have here is a transcendent, sort of a, kind of even a transcendental score that deals with ideas of religion, ideas of patriotism, revenge, murder, okay? And so you have, on one hand, stirring strings, lots of tremolo and vibrato to represent the troubledness of the human condition. But then you have these Guarani hymns, the Ave Maria, that's sung in that language. And it's this sort of floating polyphony, which seems so far above that, you know. It's an unbelievable score, but it's sort of, how to say, I don't want to say it sounds like a synthesizer, But it was of that time where that sound was really popular, and so it's a big score. Not in numbers of instruments used, but in distance between the notes. It feels light. It feels, again, accessible. I beg you, see the movie and then watch it again and just listen to the music. You'll watch the action again, I promise. You got your Liam Neeson, whatever his name is, Scar.
Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, Bob De Niro. Whoa, that's enough. Please, check it out. Okay, that's enough. Go ahead.
All right, my number 7 is Finding Neverland. The score was by Jan Kaczmarek, I think is how you say her last name. It's a little bit difficult, but it was in 2004. The film was directed by Mark Forster, and it's a semi-biographical film that's about J.M. Barrie, who's the guy who created Peter Pan. So, it, like most semi-biographical films, you follow not just what this person was known for, like creating Peter Pan, but it also follows their life story, and there's a little bit of darkness to it. It's not just about the whimsy. So this score, I think that Jan had a difficult job because they had to capture not only the whimsy of childhood and the innocence, but also the movie had a lot of darker and deeper themes in it. It had death and sickness and the loss of innocence, all kinds of stuff. And this film, this score really covered a lot of bases with those dark themes and light whimsy. She used a lot of piano, which helped capture the lightness, but she was able to turn it really dark and rich with some harmonies and some dissonance to really highlight the beauty and the resolution and this kind of play between growing up and choosing to see, you know, the light side of life or the darkness, and really balanced it out nicely. It was nominated for a whole slew of Academy Awards, but it only won one, which was fittingly the best score. So anytime, I challenge anyone to listen to just the score on Spotify and not fall in love with it, but the film is great too, so that helps.
Awesome. Number 6. My namesake, my sister's childhood terror. That's right, E.T., okay? Now, let's just get past the name stuff, all right? Thank you. Now, Oscar winner, once again, Williams and Spielberg at the helm, so you know what you're gonna get going in. You're gonna get gold. You're gonna get a masterpiece. You're gonna get Mozart, okay? Unbelievable. Williams himself had said, if you recall, the bicycle chase, not just the moon moment, okay, which is, I mean, you know, timeless, but the whole scene when they're on their bikes running around the neighborhoods and all that stuff. Go back and watch that scene again and listen to all the event-specific cues in the music. You remember, whatever it's called, Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one. That's really all the sword fights and the music kind of bum, bum, bum. You know, when they clash swords and the music reflects the fight. Okay, so John Williams kind of, he didn't invent that, but there was a lot of it in this movie, especially in that bike chase scene. I think that's just worthy because it was inventive of him to choose to do that, which is so unlike other movies where you want the music to not be noticed. But in this movie, they want to really try and increase the tension of the moment by using the music to make dramatic events more dramatic, more noticeable, and more intense. But of course, here we have one of the greatest fanfares of them all at the very end when E.T. blasts off and there's a rocket ship boat thing, and holy smokes, I keep going back and I watch it all the time because it is so plainly John Williams, so plainly American, and just rich. Not his fault that his music ends up sounding very European, like Strauss and Wagner and kind of Mahler. Mahler was American too, I guess, a little bit. But again, this is a score, as I mentioned before in other videos, that captures so much of my childhood because I loved this movie when I was a boy and continue to love it now. And so it's a film that carried the music forward for me, that sort of pays it back to the source whenever I hear it. And like so many of the other ones I mentioned, and that Hannah has already mentioned, takes us back into that moment that quick. And that's something that frankly not a lot of film scores can do, where the music just washes over you and you anything about it. But in E.T., we see something different. We see something more special. And I'm sure we're going to hear about something more special in Hannah's number 6.
Well, I actually continue with that theme quite nicely, playing into your childhood things, because my number 6 is The Lion King. This was Hans Zimmer and Elton John collaboration in 1994. And I did not just pick this film because I happen to have a cassette which wore out in my dad's truck. I listened to this and watched this movie just about every single day when I was growing up. But in hindsight, it was a great choice by me, a younger version of me, because this is some really quality music. And I first thought of The Lion King when I was trying to make this list just because I grew up with the music. But when I went back and tried to listen to it again, it's really a great soundtrack through and through. It got the Best Score Academy Award and Best Original Song for Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And it's really great because it doesn't just, the kids' pop songs in it are wonderful. I Just Can't Wait to Be King, you know, Be Prepared. All of those are fabulous. And they were actually, a lot of them were written by Mr. Elton John, which I think is an extra bonus. I think that's great. But also, it has some really great orchestral sections, courtesy of Hans Zimmer, that really capture the essence of Africa, I think, which is really important because it takes place there and it pays to the heritage. And when you're listening to it, that very opening, I'm not going to sing for you, but the na is in Swahili, and it says, "Unto us a lion is born, a king is born," or something like that in Swahili, which is really cool. And if you go back and listen to the orchestral sections, I think you'll find that they're really beautiful and have this kind of African vibe to them, which is so important because it is in the savannah after all. But also, I think that this deserves recognition for Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which is just beautiful and timeless. And of course, it won Best Original Song for that year and totally deserved it. Elton John is amazing, so is Hans Zimmer, so it's my number 6.
Sure enough. Get the DVD and watch that special features section I'm sure Hannah has. And they talked about when they brought in the guy who sang that opening chant. And they didn't know what it was going to be because apparently he already had it figured out what he was going to do. And he opened his mouth, and that came out, and they said, that's it. It was kind of those one-take wonder kind of things. Also, a one-take wonder, not that we have time for it, I'm going to say it anyway. Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast, singing Beauty and the Beast. Angela Lansbury, how many takes did it take?
One.
One take. Because she didn't want to sing. She was terrified of it. But she sang, and holy smokes, there you go.